All right, so I'm testing out the YouTube Live. Let's see what kind of experience I have with that. And today I want to talk about the number one lab marker that your doctor is not watching, that predicts heart and metabolic risk, okay? And so for those of you who may know who I am, my name is Sabrina. And here on this channel, there's a couple of things that I want to convey or share with the audience who follows me or watch this channel. One is my goal and my mission is to optimize my health and performance while reducing my reliance on the healthcare system. And I think as individuals, all of us can do that. And it does not take a lot. You can do that by very simple habits and tasks. But the number one thing that you can do in order to accomplish that is to become involved in your healthcare process. How do you do that? Okay, you can do that by, number one, learning and being honest with yourself about where you are today in your personal walk, in your personal health, and being willing to do something about it. I shared in previous videos that's on the channel about to expand about my mission. I don't want to be dependent on someone to take care of me, and I don't want to live in a poor quality of health because I've seen that. It's not a good process, and I want to be a good steward over this body that God has given me for the time that I have it, okay? Even though we think that we have a lot of time, we don't have a lot of time per se. And so it is our goal and our responsibility to do what we can to take care of this vessel, okay? And so how do I do that? Number one, I do what I can by learning and expanding my knowledge, but also I do that by advanced testing. You'll hear me talk about that a lot. I do believe I'm physician adjacent. I believe the healthcare system has a role to play, but I think as individuals, our role is a lot bigger and a lot larger. But we have given ourselves over to the healthcare system to manage our life, which God gave us to oversee. So I want to just encourage you to now take that same active role in your own health and do something about it. So what is this marker that most doctors are not testing for? It is insulin resistance. It's the one that I'm going to talk about today. I too have been personally affected by those who have been diagnosed with diabetes and the chronic effects of what that looks like in a deteriorating stage of health, whether it's led to someone being on insulin or whether or not it's led to someone having their limbs amputated. And I don't know if you walked into a hospital room and smelled rotting flesh, or you see someone's skin actually looks like this. It's turned black. That smell you will never get over. You will never forget it. And so for me, I don't want that for myself. And if I can encourage somebody else not to go down that path, I want to be able to do so. And so insulin resistance, really in just a simple form, is a condition in which the body becomes less responsive to the hormone insulin. And anytime insulin is at play, insulin is a very powerful hormone and it's a bully on the block. So when insulin is high, it's going to affect all the other hormones in the body, okay? It's a bully. We need it, but it is definitely a bully on the block, okay? And so what is this test that I think that I know until I requested it, and I didn't request it until I did research and I read about it. I didn't know anything about it. I am a person who I have my labs done every 6 months, if not more often. Specifically, my lipid panels. I always want to know my glucose, my A1C, and even now my fasting insulin. Well, that's not enough, okay? But after reading and doing some research, I found that there's another test that is considered the gold standard test by the American Heart Association, which is the OGTT. I like saying that, OGTT. That is the oral glucose tolerance test. This is a 2-hour test from the administration of the glucose, because they're going to give you pure unadulterated sugar, 75 grams of that, right? But from the administration of the glucose, it takes 2 hours, but you're going to be there almost 3 hours, right? So this test is a test that it shows whether or not your body is, how should I put it? Let me look at my notes of how I wrote it. Well, this test, it shows how your body processes glucose and sugar, okay? But this test is it can be the first onset of showing whether or not you're insulin resistant. If you're insulin resistant, it increases your chances of being a diabetic. You do not have to die of diabetes, okay? You don't have to be insulin resistant. There is something that you can do about it. Most times, type 2 diabetes can be reversed, okay, if you just make some appropriate lifestyle changes, but you need to know your risk factors. So what do you need to know about this? I'm going to read this. According to the CDC, that is the Center for Disease Control, it says 34 million U.S. adults with diabetes, more than 7 million are unaware of their condition, putting them at risk for heart attacks, strokes, peripheral artery disease, Alzheimer's disease, which is closely related and linked to IR, which is insulin resistance, and a wide range of diabetic complications, such as nerve damage, such as vision and hearing impairment, such as lower limb amputation. Okay, and the statistics for prediabetes is worse. Prediabetes is usually a reversible disease that affects 88 million Americans, more than 85% of them who do not know that they even have it. And the kicker to all of this, those of us, including myself, who have normal labs, they are considered normal and fine. These are the people who are more at risk because the doctor is looking at that, just this one factor here, and they're not looking at the early stages of insulin resistance. So I have had the glucose, the OGTT, I've had that test done. And lo and behold, like I said, they take a blood draw, your fasting blood glucose first, right? So they have that number. Then they administer you the 75 grams of glucose, sugar. Mine tasted like a sugary Sprite. They administer that to you. Then you wait an hour and they take your blood work again, okay? Then they take your blood work again at another hour, okay? Within that first hour, I believe it is said that that number needs to be less than 100 mg, 140 mg per deciliter. That's considered normal. I think mine was like 141. I broke it just by a little. Now, what does that tell me? And I think for some of you all that walk around and say that you're so healthy, you should pay attention to what I'm about to say. For years, I have known that my body does not respond very well to carbohydrates. Do I think all carbohydrates are bad? No. But what I'm saying, for those people who walk around and say that you should eat 150 grams of carbs, you should eat 200 grams of carbs, you should without knowing all the factors about yourself as an individual, you could be putting yourself in harm's way. When I finished this test, I shouldn't have been driving. But when I finished this test, I barely could make it home. I was so lethargic and I felt so bad, which is what a large amount of carbohydrates for me, which is not a lot for most people, but for me, it does the reverse. Instead of me having more energy, I become lethargic. And this has happened to me for years. But if you're anything like me, until you educate yourself, until you learn how to articulate how you feel, and you understand that there is words and verbiage to explain how I feel, I had no idea that this was related to or could be related to insulin resistance. If you would know, one, my family history, and two, if you would see some of the genetic testing that I have done, there's no way that I should not be a diabetic based upon family history and genetics. The only thing that has kept me from going down that path or being diagnosed with that is because I know that God touched me a long time ago. He gave me some wisdom and insight. Even though I haven't done everything right, he gave me some wisdom and insight about me. And anytime you will go to a doctor, you talk to a nutritionist, the first thing they want to do is, most of the time, is pile your plate up, not necessarily with simple carbohydrates, but with complex carbs. But I know that's not something that's good for me in terms of eating it in an abundance. Do I eat carbohydrates? 100% I do. But there's a limit that I will have to top out at, which is probably going to be lower than most people. And that's usually frowned upon. But had I followed the world's recommendation, guess what? I'm pretty sure, even the doctor said, there's no way that you shouldn't be a diabetic based upon my family history and based upon my genetics. The only thing that has kept me from going down that road or being diagnosed is by the grace of God and me choosing to be obedient for his direction. What do I want you to take away from this video? Number one, go get tested. It's called an OGTT, oral glucose tolerance test. Most doctors are not going to put that on there for you to be tested. It's very inexpensive to do, and it's just a blood draw. You're going to have to drink some glucose. It's not a big deal. You're going to have to knock out 3 hours of your day. Not a big deal, right? For the value that it provides. But number two, be willing to honor who you are. Your life and my life looks different. The moment that we start becoming copycats of somebody else, that's where you go wrong. Okay? I know for myself that me personally, that God has had his hand on my life. God gave me insight and wisdom about me. Am I perfect? No. But the things that God has shared about me in terms of my health, it has made the difference. I'm just encouraging you to take autonomy over your own health. I'm just encouraging you to get involved with your own health and don't wait around for somebody else to tell you what you should do. There are doctors and therapeutic partners out here that are willing to join hands with you and link up with you to help you find that particular protocol for your specific life. It could be the same framework, but the program is different, right? There's somebody that's out here. Don't get married to a doctor. And all therapeutic partners does not have MD behind their names. Okay? I hope this video blesses you. If you want to know how to lower your health risks and you want to learn how to customize things for your own health plan, click the link below. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Take care, everybody. Be blessed.